What's up, daddies? McWheezy here. Tells Me McWheezy episode 3. Today we're going to talk about that time that I almost died. True story. You can ask people who were there. It's funny. It's kind of crazy. I hit on it a little bit in the Life Equals episode of my first one. So go ahead and check that out, please. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and cue the intro. What's up, daddies? All right, so like I said, all my stories in Tales of McWheezy are true, and even though they're crazy, and if they're true. So I almost died from COVID. I hit on that a lot in the Life Equals first episode. So if you want to know more about it, just go check that out because Tales of McWheezy are supposed to be shorter. I get out of the hospital and I was fucking, like happy, like, dude, I made it. And I wanted to celebrate it with some manly shit, So me and the boys planned a camping trip. A lot of my boys couldn't come, but the few that did, thank you. And it was fun for the most part. So my birthday is Halloween. So I think we went maybe the week before Halloween or the week after. Because like I said, my birthday's Halloween. I didn't think I was going to fucking make it to 25, I think is when I turned that year. So I wanted to celebrate it in a manly way, So I got all my boys together, the ones that could come, and we went camping. And somewhere in Florida, I can't even remember what it was, but I live in Florida, so, And it's just somewhere south. And it was a lake, or a river, I mean. It was on the river, on St. John's River, but way further south, like maybe 2 hours away. Damn, I wish I remembered the name. It was cool, too. Cool campsite. But we go there, and we get there, and we get out. The campsite was across the river from the parking, so you had to ride a ferry there. And as soon as you get there, the ferry, you get on it, and there it says on the ferry or on the sign right before the ferry that be careful of bears. Bears are very common here. So me and my nephew are like, hey, asked the park ranger, like, hey, what's the chance we see a bear? He was like, about 50%. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, there's about a 50% chance you see a bear. There's a lot of Florida black bears around here. And I was like, wait, what? I was kind of scared. And then I go, well, what's their sizes? He's like, about anywhere between 250 and 400. And I'm like, boy, what? I could beat up a black bear. I was already drinking at the moment. I was thinking I could beat up an adult black bear, Florida black bear, because they're pretty small. And the ranger just started laughing. But he goes, yeah, well, if you go out at night before the curfew, yeah, you might actually see one. Or if you go out to the deeper part of the woods, and then sometimes they'll even come on your campsite. And I'm just like, dude, that's fucking crazy. And so we get on the campsite, we get all of our shit together, and we go canoeing. And I've been kayaking, but I've never been canoeing before. Well, no, that's not true. I went canoeing in the Boy Scouts, but I don't remember it very much. And we had to split up. And my brother, who's a lot smaller than me, went with me. I don't know if you know how canoes work, but they're very wobbly and stuff, especially when the weight's not distributed. So I get in the back of the canoe, he gets in the front because of the weight. And the whole time we're fucking rocking. We're rocking back and forth the whole time, bro. And he's like, I swear to God, Brandon, if we flip, oh my God, I swear to God, Brandon, if we flip. He goes, Brandon, at the near the point where it started to get really bad, he's like, Brandon, if we flip, I'm taking an Uber home, and I don't care what you say. I don't care. That's how mad he was. So we get all the way to where we're going. It was probably like a mile, maybe 2 mile canoe trip, and we couldn't come back, And like I said, I told this story in my Life Equals. This is just a more in-depth version. We couldn't get out because there was nowhere to get out like we wanted to. So we come back and we were going with the current on the way back. So it's a little bit faster. And I start feeling weird. Like I start feeling dizzy. Like I literally am doing this while paddling, And by the way, he literally was yelling at me for my paddling techniques the entire time. He had the right to, but it was funny. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel dizzy and I'm like, what the fuck? And Then I started feeling like I'm about to throw up. And I'm like, Ryan, I'm about to throw up and I feel dizzy. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. He's like, don't do it. Just hold on. We're almost there. I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, dude, I remember this feeling from when I passed out with COVID. I'm about to pass out. He's like, Brandon, you're fine. Don't pass out. We're almost there. I'm like, okay, but I mean, I'm really about to pass out. My cousin comes by and he's like, dude, you are white as a ghost. And I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. I'm about to pass out. So Ryan's like, stop, I almost said canoeing. Stop paddling and put the paddle in here and just lay down almost and, you know, stay. So I did that. I kind of put my head between my knees and I'm like, dude, Ryan, we got to pull over. He's like, where do you want to pull over? All there is fucking docks here. We can't pull on a random person's dock. About 10 seconds after I said that, phew, fucking canoe flips and I'm passed out. I had no idea what happened. I hit the water and I woke up for a second, right? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I just hear my brother all pissed off and shit. Luckily, we gave our phones and wallets to one of my friends who had a more sturdy kayak. And we're just like, whoa, what the fuck? He's like yelling at me and I'm like, you know, in and out. And because I fell back out, you know. And then my cousin's canoe or kayak, touched my foot. And I was like, oh shit, like freaked out, woke up again. And luckily I kept my shoes from getting in the mud. They were close though. And we... I couldn't get out because the dock was so high, and I'm again, this is after a coma, so like my muscles are all fucked. I could not lift myself up, and they could have lifted me, but they were carrying the canoe, so I had to get on some random guy's boat where I broke his ladder, and then I hopped off his ladder onto the thing. He saw me break the ladder, and he didn't say anything, so we didn't get in trouble, and he didn't care. I told him, I was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's fine. Then we left, then we get up, and then we get the canoe all ready, and Ryan, apparently, when we're paddling back, or when we get back, Jay's like, hey, which is my cousin, he's like, Ryan was just sitting there cussing you out and shit. He's like, freaking out on you and cussing you out because he just thought you flipped, like you just fucked up, and he didn't know you passed out. So he's out there just cussing me out. Like, while I'm passed out, possibly drowning. Luckily, I landed on my back with the fucking life vest. And while he's cussing me out, I hear my cousin, like, I can hear partially what he's doing. And I hear my cousin, he's just like, hey, he's passed out. And I'm like, you know, that's when his foot hit my, you know what I mean? He hit my foot. And so he's out there like, fuck you da-da-da-da-da. Like, I could hear a little bit of it, but my cousin, like, explained it, and Ryan did. Like, oh my God, I can't fucking believe you flipped us. And then all of a sudden he realized I wasn't answering. He's like, Brandon, answer me. Brandon, answer me. So, like, again, I literally almost died. This is right after almost dying from COVID. And if I would have been on my stomach, I could have died because they didn't realize I was passed out for a few minutes, or not minutes, but like a good 30 seconds. Luckily, I stayed on my back and they saved me. But man, it was crazy. And the other crazy part, right? I almost forgot. So a boat passed by us and didn't stop. We're obviously struggling here, and he didn't stop. He just kept going. I literally was like waving for him. He just kept going. And then they give us these whistles, and my nephew and his brothers, my two nephews, they were blowing their whistles, and they were like, hey, we can hear these whistles from a 3-mile radius, and we'll come to you as soon as it happens. They're blowing their whistles so hard, and we're like a half-mile away from the fucking campsite, and nobody came. So we got in the canoes, fucking finally canoed back, and we're safe eventually. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.